Good evening. Welcome to the Glazov gang. Tonight, the best Glazov gang ever, backed by popular demand. 3 titans. First, Mell Flynn, the president of Hollywood Congress of Republicans. And Ernie White, a civil rights activist. And Brittany, a conservative TV and movie star. And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you. It's good to be here. Great to be back.
Fantastic. Ernie, are you excited to be back?
I'm good. I'm really good.
You're good? Okay.
I'm so scared you're going to make me do Elvis or something. I don't want to do Elvis.
Okay.
Speaking of.
I'm freaking out. I don't want to do it.
Okay, well, this is our Christmas special.
That's right.
Because we're trying to get people in the mood for Christmas. Now, we've got a lot of serious things to discuss this episode. But before we do, to get people a little bit into the Christmas spirit, what is it called by Elvis?
Blue Christmas by Elvis Presley.
Okay, we were practicing before the show.
Yeah. Ernie's just too good. So
okay, let's see.
I don't know it.
Take it away.
Let's see.
Ernie.
I want a blue Christmas without you. Okay, we're done.
Excellent.
There you go.
Excellent.
I've never done that before.
Fantastic.
That's my first time.
Fantastic.
Wow. I probably offended all the Elvis impersonators throughout the country.
Why would you offend the Elvis?
It doesn't matter. I offend everybody else. Might as well start with them too, right?
Okay. You know what? I see a new career for you.
It is.
Perhaps. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, from the world of humor to the serious and frightening issues of our time, let us begin with Obama and the roots of Ferguson rage. And let us begin with Brittany.
Where do we go from here? What do we say? I don't really know what to say. I mean, this.
Okay.
You know,
that was a quick interview.
Thinking about all of this and watching all of it on the television, I am just in shock that we are where we are today. I lived through the race riots in the 60s, and I got to tell you, you would think by now things would be a lot better than they are. But to see Eric Holder and Barack Obama and Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson coming out and stoking the flames and getting people agitated, it really makes me angry. Because this is what they're doing. It's very transparent. You can see it. It's extremely transparent. And I want to know, what is their ulterior motive? Why are they doing this? Why?
Ernie White.
I think it's to disrupt. I think they're doing it to disrupt our country. I think they're doing it because if you notice what happened today, Obama put in more EPA regulations. Obama put in more rules and regulations for how we're going to arm the Syrians. And we're not talking about the Syrians that are our friends. We're talking about how we're going to arm those that really hate us, but yet maybe they hate ISIS just a little bit more. So all of these things are happening while we're sitting here watching Ferguson. And what's really sad is in our country, all it takes is a little bit of white and a little bit of black and a little fight going on. And guess what? Our country goes crazy. I'm looking at my Facebooks, and people that I thought were normal are actually commenting, black this, black that. And some black people are commenting, white this, white that. That means that the people at the top, the elite, that can basically make us do whatever they want, they're laughing at us because they see that that's all it takes for our country to forget about everything else that's going on.
That's right.
We can't even get these people to an election, but yeah, boy, they can really get upset about some silly racial nonsense that's happening in Ferguson, Missouri, a town of 22,000 people.
1 second, before we go to Mel, when you say silly, let's get into this case just for a second. I just want to know where you stand. Why do you say silly? We have Wilson, who shot Michael Brown. Where do you stand on this, and what do you think is silly?
I have no idea what happened that night. I don't know what happened. I don't have any of the facts in front of me. What I do know is right here in Los Angeles, where we're doing this filming, we had about 20 deaths over the weekend. People killing people. Whites, blacks, and Hispanics, all dead. This is in Chicago as well. We had about 20 deaths in Chicago, murders. So again, we focus on this one issue where a police officer did kill an unarmed youth. We understand that. But that's happening all over the country. But it's not just that. We're losing our country. And what's sad is we're supposed to be Americans. And this black, this white, this nonsense has got to stop.
Okay, but just a sec. So there's a selective indignation and there's an agenda of the media. And I think we can use our common sense what the left is doing in this case, and we'll get into it. Mel?
Yeah, I think Ernie brings up a really good point about it being a distraction, because Obama just made his big announcement about the illegal immigration and executive order. Then right after that, this all took place. You know, the judgment came in and everything else. So now this is a big news story. You see it everywhere. It's all you hear about. And like you said, I mean, he's doing all this other stuff behind the scenes, and no one's paying attention. We're all, focused on Ferguson and these riots and, so on. So that really, I think it has a lot to do with it. And this whole Ferguson thing is a tragedy. I don't know. I don't know. I believe they did their job.
I do too.
Trying to figure out what happened. I really think everyone tried to really get to the bottom of this. If that cop was guilty, he should be in jail. But from the facts, I think he was innocent. I think he was just trying to save himself. He was afraid.
But look, the thing is how this serves the left's agenda here, because yes, the empirical evidence reveals that Wilson was justified and felt his life being threatened. But again, something that Ernie was also referring to, black on black crime throughout the entire country. Where is this? Where is CNN and MSNBC on this?
They don't want to talk about it.
So
they don't want to talk about
and
it.
when you even watch, I was watching Van Jones and this other gentleman on CNN the other night, having a mental lapse at the moment, the name, but they're so excited about these riots and these demonstrations and this, they call it democracy in action, and maybe they're paying lip service to being against the quote-unquote violence, but they're happy this is happening, and you can kind of see a Marxist impulse here, that there's a revolution and we're changing things. But look, I never see this animated, vehement, excitement or even indignation. How about where is the black community? Where's Al Sharpton? Where's Jesse Jackson in terms of Arab slavery in Africa, enslaving black people? There's all kinds of hypocrisy on this issue. Morgan, go ahead.
Okay, here's the thing that I want an answer to. Most of the protesters that are doing the violent protesting are not even from Ferguson, Missouri. They're coming from other places, and they're probably either being paid. They've been there for a month. Who's paying that? Who's putting them up in hotels? Who's taking care of these people? And they're going out and they're causing the problems because they probably have peaceful protesters in Ferguson and St. Louis and Los Angeles. But what about the agitators? What about the people that are holding signs up against Israel? What does that have to do with anything? What does it have to do with? So this is all like you said, the Marxist playbook. That's what it is.
And the agitation also is actually coming from the White House, as we've said, and some of you have implied too, that there's an agenda here also, not just to agitate and to cause racial strife, but also to distract from foreign policy.
That's right.
Ernie, your thoughts?
Right. I think that they're also trying to distract you from freedom, from fairness. They want you to believe that freedom really isn't, who cares about being free? And that's what most of us up here are about. We're about freedom. We're about protecting our nation. We're about keeping our nation. We're about growing our nation, expanding our nation, welcoming others to our nation in an orderly fashion. Those are the things they're not about. They're about open borders. They're about chaos. They're about groupthink. They're about Common Core in your schools. Right. Everything that's going on is planned, and it is Marxist. It is communist. It's Leninist. It's all nuts. And it's because it's all about control. And even though those people are rioting, they're being controlled by somebody else.
They are.
And it's in the leftist agenda, as you say. The whole point here also is that America is a bad country. And then whenever something is happening, for instance, with ISIS or with real evil monstrosities throughout the world, Obama can say, we have racial problems in America too, as if we're just as guilty of all of this evil.
Right, exactly. I mean, no doubt there's racism. Okay, there is. But I don't think this case was that with the officer. I really think it's just, was bad, an accident, whatever. He was defending himself. I don't think this is racist, okay? But yeah, they're making this out to be a totally racist thing. and this is coming down from the administration, the news media. The people also there, like Morgan was saying, it's just not the people from Ferguson. This is the Occupy movement. And who's paying these people from the Occupy movement, you know? They're out there, they're here in California, they're all over the country doing this. So what's behind that?
And thank you. So that leads us into something that Morgan very wisely referred to. I want to talk now about the Ferguson riots as jihad against America. And as you've said, there's anti-Israeli signs, and there's jihadi signs, and Palestinian signs.
That's right.
So for instance, leaders of CARE are portraying Brown's death and comparing his death to the death of a radical Islamist Detroit mosque leader, Imam Amin Abdullah, that was shot during an FBI raid in 2009. They're calling Abdullah a shaheed, a martyr. And they're saying that both he and Brown are victims of America, national security apparatus, etc. And in general, this whole theme that America is demonizing and criminalizing Muslims. So CARE and these Islamist groups are now coming in, co-opting all of these demonstrations, but they're saying that this is an anti-Islam thing that has happened, and that now Muslims need to join with the demonstrators. So in general, we've got the riots in terms, and the protests in terms of the whole Brown incident, the black-white issue, but the Islamists are co-opting the whole Palestinian issue, the Muslim issue, jihad issue, and we see a kind of, you know, they're unifying on this. What do you think?
This is what they do. This is what they do. They will find any reason to do things like this, to use some sort of a situation, blow it out of proportion, twist it around to the way they want it for their agenda. And these visuals are being broadcast to the entire world. You know as well as I do that within seconds, all of the rioting and the worst of the rioting will be broadcast all over the world, and that's what people will see. And all of this when they're holding up signs against Israel. What is that messaging? What is that telling people?
And Morgan, also, when people see the riots and it's about Brown, but then all of a sudden it's for Palestine, it's against Israel.
Right, they tie it together.
Persecution of Muslims.
Yes.
And all of this somewhere has this pro-Islamist label, and Islamists are behind this, and Obama is in the same camp. So what does it say about our leadership? Ernie?
You know, when I grew up in Chicago, the Black Panthers were actually from out of Chicago. I lived not too far from the head of the Black Panthers, Fred Hampton. And the Black Panthers were basically like a Christian group at that point. Today, the Black Panthers are called the New Black Panthers. And they're the New Black Panthers because they are now a Muslim group of blacks that are actually becoming these agitators. They're the ones that's in your groups that's going to agitate throughout all the country, and they want you to riot. This is what they want. They want you to burn down your own town. They want you see black vendors who have lost their businesses, they want you to destroy that, and then they want you to blame it on America. But the ones who are throwing those rocks through windows, who are taking baseball bats and tearing down your business, those are the New Black Panthers. And they're dressed up like they're just hoodlums, but that's the New Black Panther group, and they're out there, they want you to be agitated.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and you know, the mental lapse I had earlier, I'm referring to Mark Lamont Hill. He's one of the commentators on there. And Van Jones, but I remember them on CNN. But guys, like, when I watch what's happening, I love America, and there's a sense of regret in my heart. And I don't like to see that. I think it's a bad thing because I love America, and I think it's the most precious, wonderful experiment on the face of the earth in terms of freedom and liberty. But when you watch Mark Lamont Hill and Van Jones and even the CNN comment, and they're like, democracy in the streets, like even their disposition and their tone, forget even what they're saying. They're excited. They're for this. And so I definitely see an impulse of hatred of America. And there's a glee that this is happening because it's trouble and it's a crisis, and they want that.
Exactly. And if we had a leader that loved this country, this could have all been diffused way ahead of time. Everybody knew, word was out that there was a possibility that this verdict could come down the way it did. If Barack Obama was a true leader and loved this country, he would have gotten out ahead of this. And he would have spoken to the people and calmed people. But no, he didn't do that. He waited until, if you looked at the split screen the other night with him talking and giving a speech, it's a split screen of Barack Obama, and on this side, it's Ferguson burning.
Right.
What kind of visual is that? Did he want that? Is that what he wanted?
Absolutely. 1 second. I'm feeling a little bit guilty because Mel has been very nobly silent. Go ahead, Mel.
No, just, to continue what they're saying. Yeah, you're right. I mean, and who really feels sadness for this country? But, yeah, do these people really want this in their neighborhoods to burn their own, places of business down? A lot of these people are minorities themselves. They're struggling, and now they have nothing. There's got to be some reason behind it. And like you're saying on CNN and stuff, they do have a glee. It's like they're happy, like, ooh, we're really getting them now, It's ridiculous.
At the risk of being accused of being racist, I would like to ask Ernie, as an African American, that is, I think it could be legitimately said that you're not a pro-Obama person and you're in the Republican Party.
Yeah.
But
you could say that.
At the same time, how do you as an African American that also I'm sure has experienced racism in America, how do you see this also from a personal background and as an African American?
Well, when my dad came back from World War II, there were still places in this country where he was still not allowed to vote. And I said, Dad, how could you have gone out and fought for a government that would not allow you to vote? He said, I never fought for this government, I fought for this country. And he said, this country is what you need to fight for. It's a free country, a free nation, and yes, it still needs improvement, but that's what we're doing. We're going to continue to improve it. And that's what we're supposed to be doing right now. When those riots were happening in Ferguson, 99.9999999% of black people were at home. We have nothing to do with it.
Right.
Yet the media is trying to lump us all in as if the black people were out there doing this. We were not out there. You have a few hundred people out there who decided to act ignorant.
But let's be honest here, the left is in control of our media, and so it's the left instigating and agitating all of this racial conflict. So it's very interesting that the left postures as being anti-racist, but I would say that they're actually the ones being racist in this whole episode.
Because the left knows that if they can make you believe that the black people were out there, that all black people were out there, if you believe that, then that means you need to join the Democrat Party right now so we can protect you. And that's what this is all about. If you understand that most black people are at home and safe and getting ready for Thanksgiving, those black people may consider being free and might join the Republican Party.
Or they're crying over their burnt down bakery shop.
No, their bakery shop, their flower shop, right? The lady with the beauty shop.
So
she lost everything.
So she did.
Right.
So here just another example of this quote unquote revolution, or whatever they want to call it, that's also hurting the very people that they're pretending that they're helping.
And it's also giving the image. I feel bad because if you look at the images of what they're showing African American black people doing, it's terrible. It's horrible. I mean, there was a football player who just wrote a wonderful thing on Facebook.
I read that,
Did you read that?
Yeah, that was good.
And he was saying, this is not who we are. This is not what we do. But they're making it look like we're all like this.
No, we're not it.
And
We're
you're
not doing
not.
it. We're not it.
No.
I'm here.
And
I'm not doing it.
And another interesting thing, when I watch CNN, MSNBC, once in a while who they have on, whatever. But where is Larry Elder? Where is Thomas Sowell? Where is Walter Williams? They don't invite the conservative voices in the African American community.
No, they absolutely do not. Thank God we have them on radio, but they don't. And that's true. I mean, look at the faces out there. There's a lot of white faces out there too, a lot of those Occupy people. So it isn't just the black people, and they are getting labeled with this. And what is troublesome is that, I don't want to say it was a big deal. Anyone getting killed is a big deal. But I think this case was pretty cut and dry in a lot of ways. I know there are a lot of stories told, but if you look at the facts and the evidence, it wasn't so blatant like some people think. That a white guy, a cop just shot the black kid, and the stuff like that. But this caused this much commotion, and they tried to go through the rule of law. They, looked at the evidence and everything, and look at what it caused, just because the outcome wasn't the way some people wanted it.
But it was theater. It was theater, and they loved it.
Right.
Did you see? It was a countdown. How many minutes before the verdict is released? I mean, that's what it became. It became a reality show, a real reality show, and they wanted people to tune in and watch it like it's a train wreck.
Well, nobody's going to be out tomorrow because we've got 2 football games on tomorrow.
Exactly.
So, I mean, seriously, so
Yeah.
America will be, their minds will be taken away again. You've got the Cowboys on and you've got the Bears on.
Yeah.
So I think there'll be no rioting tomorrow. Maybe we have to come back on
Maybe
Friday.
and do
But
it again.
but we have football on Thursday.
We have to announce this because you've mentioned football. Does our audience know that Ernie White used to be a football player? Is this true?
in high school.
Hey, I didn't know
You
that.
played football in high
I
school?
played football in high school.
What
Yes,
position?
I did. Safety.
Were you a good player?
I was a fast player.
Okay.
I was very good.
Morgan and Mel, what sports did you play?
Well, let's see.
When you weren't killing people on TV.
What sports did I play?
Or
did
what
you not
sport
kill?
did you like?
Yeah, I know. I was not into sports.
Well, what sport do you like?
I actually like football, but I
Football?
like
Okay.
I like baseball too. I mean,
New England Patriots.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
No.
Oh no.
Chicago Bears. But besides that, I
Mel,
was a gymnast. I played softball. I was a cheerleader.
Wow.
I played
See?
volleyball.
She did all the
Wow.
good stuff.
Sportsman, yeah.
Okay,
Wow.
fantastic.
I was a dancer.
You were a dancer? Okay.
I was a dancer.
Okay, and ladies and gentlemen, we are very serious about the serious issues, but we also need to talk about life a little bit and laugh with each other
Yes, we do.
sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
we do. Oh, we
And
do.
because we have a new rule at the Glazov gang where we need a little bit of comic relief, because not to get too depressed from all the serious issues of our time, it is now the Glazov gang's culture moment.
Oh, no.
And that is where each person, each guest, very quickly shows a little bit of their talent. And we're going to start with Morgan,
We are.
who's going to do maybe a bit of an imitation or a quick song for us. But I love when you do the Virginia accent.
Oh, well, I just got back from Texas, and I just want to tell you all how wonderful everybody is down there. They are all getting ready for the holidays, and I had a wonderful time with Anne Marie Morrell and Dr. Gina Loudon. We covered that state of Texas like you cannot believe.
There you go.
Say covered one more time.
Covered.
Excellent. And where do they talk like that?
They talk like that in Virginia and
Excellent.
the South and North Carolina.
No wonder you were such a great actress. And if I don't know if our audience knows this, to remind them, Morgan was the individual who killed Bobby on
Yes,
Dallas.
on
What was her name
Dallas.
again?
Oh, please, Catherine Wentworth.
Catherine Wentworth killed Bobby, but it was just
A dream.
a dream.
You were just dreaming?
I wasn't me dreaming.
They were dreaming.
They were dreaming.
Oh, I can't stand that when they do that.
Okay.
It was a nightmare for
I
CBS.
don't like the dream shows.
Ernie?
I'm going to do a Canadian. A boot.
Oh!
A boot.
Going
Excellent.
after Jamie, are you?
Okay, how do I say a boat? Let me see.
What?
How do I say it again?
A boot.
Okay. Thank you very much, Ernie and Mel.
I cannot do any accents. I
No?
have not. I can't. I don't
Maybe
do
say
accents.
something good about a great book that's been published recently.
What Women Really Want. That is a great book. Everyone
Excellent.
buy it.
Yes.
What Women Really Want.
Yes.
By authors Morgan Brittany, Gina Loudon, and Anne Marie Morrell.
That's
in
right.
one or two sentences, Mel, why do you like this great
Because
book?
it's about strong women and about women in general and how they don't have to lose themselves by being feminine and, we have to go into the whole liberal woman movement.
And the
feminism.
feminists are totally
Yes.
wrong.
Yes.
Okay, our fascinating culture moment has come to an end.
Oh, man.
Let us move back to the serious issues of our time. Hegel. Resigned, fired.
Hegel who?
We're finding out the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
gone. And some of the information that's coming out is that he was opposed to closing down Gitmo. He was concerned with releasing, for instance, some of the Afghan terrorists that were in there. He's opposed to Obama's incoherent Syria policy. And, this is incredible because he's such a leftist, but he's just not left-wing enough for Obama. How did you see him leaving this position? Morgan?
Well, I think that any time you disagree with the emperor of the country, you're going to lose your job. And I think that it came down to that. I think that if, Hegel voiced his opinion and said he didn't, I think he talked too much. I think he came out and he talked too much and they went,
But just wait, Morgan, I think it's important to emphasize that it's not an necessarily an argument over what ice cream the soldiers will be eating. This is a left-wing guy on many levels, Hagel.
Oh yeah.
But even he is
He's
too,
not
even
exactly
right?
exactly.
Because Obama is really hurting the national security interests of the United States.
That's exactly right.
Ernie?
No, I agree with you, and I think, look at what we're doing in the Muslim nations. We're giving them weapons. We don't even know who we're giving the weapons to.
Nope.
As we take the weapons away from the American citizen, we're handing them over to the Middle East. So again, you've got a lot of policies out there that everybody doesn't agree with in the Defense Department. They do not like what they're seeing. We've got our military out doing Ebola instead of focusing on keeping our country safe. So again, what are we doing as a nation? And I fear that Obama's going to find somebody that's so far left, it's going to make our heads spin.
Ernie, what do you think about how even several people who they've tried to, get in as a possible nominee don't even want the job?
Because I got a feeling they see the icing on the cake, man. They know that this is bad. They know where we're going.
Yeah,
and I don't believe the American people are going to like it. And again, that's why you have the Ferguson issues. That's why you have the Trayvon Martin issues. So that America can get caught up in other things while we
it's a diversion.
So we can divert and do what we have to do.
Yep.
But I think that we have this radical in chief, a destroyer in chief,
Of course we do.
an agitator in chief, and even the left-wing individuals are scared to take
They're
that
backing
position,
away.
right?
Yeah,
they're either wisening up or they don't, they want to be reelected. Some of them, because I'm here. Who was talking? Chuck Schumer saying
today.
how he
Yeah,
doesn't like
about
Obamacare. I know of all
Yes.
things. So he's talking bad about the president as well. But yeah, Hagel just not radical enough. I guess he, like you guys all said, you named it all. He sees some things he doesn't like. He brought it to the attention. He didn't want anything to do with it, but now he's gone. And I think they're going to get someone really bad in there. That's what scares me.
Oh man. I don't know how it can get worse.
Okay, let's take 5 seconds of reflection. What do you think of Obama's foreign policy overall, especially in the Middle East? Morgan?
5 seconds? It is ultimate disaster. For the very first time, you have to remember, I lived through Nikita Khrushchev. I lived through Fridays at 10 o'clock when the air raid sirens would go off every Friday. I lived through people putting bomb shelters because we thought we were going to be bombed by the Russians. I lived through the Cuban Missile Crisis. Obama scares me with his foreign policy more than that ever did.
That's a very profound thing to say, and here's one thing. When we see what the Islamic State is doing today with all of its beheading and evil and terror, if it wasn't for Obama, that wouldn't even be happening today. Ernie?
All you have to do is look at Egypt. All you have to do is look at Libya, and you just keep going down the list. Everywhere Obama touches, it goes bad fast.
Why?
Because there is no policy. The policy is let them loose. They used to be kept under lock and barrel. Now that key is open, that gate is open.
Ernie, do you think Obama is incompetent and naive, or this is a malicious thing that he's knowingly doing to hurt the country that he's leading?
Well, he actually said he wanted to transform America. The way you transform the greatest nation of all is to disrupt everything. And now that he's disrupted everything, he can go ahead and move forward in America, which he's doing. We're focusing, every time he does something, what's sad is we all jump to where he's going, but he's already 3 steps ahead of you moving on something else. So we're already late every time we move on what he's doing. We're late already.
Thank you, Ernie. Mel?
Yeah, I'm same thing. I was going to say what foreign policy, but do you think he's naive, or is it, I thought about that a lot. I'm like, God, he just seems kind of stupid. He does. I'm like, but no, he can't be. No one's that dumb.
Yeah.
The stuff that he's doing has to be calculated.
Yeah.
It just has to be. No one is that naive. No one's that dumb. Like you said, the beheadings, that certainly wouldn't happen here over there if we had a strong president like a Reagan or somebody, even
and
a Bush.
kept a residual force in Iraq.
Yeah, exactly. He took out the soldiers. What do you think's going to happen?
Yeah.
We all knew this was going to happen.
And you know what? And somebody like O'Reilly is constantly on his show saying, "Why is Obama doing this? Why is Obama doing this?" My answer is because he's a leftist. Invite David Horowitz on your program, and he will
Absolutely.
He will explain to you why a leftist president would be doing what he's doing. Let us end on a very, very scary issue. Iran, the bomb, the mullahs getting the bomb. Very recently, another extension of the negotiations. Iran is proudly boasting that America has surrendered. They're actually saying this. And the more we extend, the more this crazy Western weakness continues, the sooner Iran will get the nuclear bomb or nuclear bombs, and they're boasting about it. Once they have the bomb, we're in a completely different world that's even scarier than the world we're living in now. Morgan?
Oh, yeah.
Why did Obama let it get to this point?
Absolutely,
what do you
because
think?
he wants it to get to this point. That's what he wants. He doesn't like Israel. He doesn't care if Israel is wiped off the face of the earth. And anybody says that he does, they're kidding themselves. He doesn't.
Or blackmailed and bullied into making all kinds of concessions.
I feel, I mean, if I was an Israeli, if I was in Netanyahu's position, I would know that America doesn't have my back anymore. This is very sad that we are in this situation, and I guarantee you most Americans don't even know about what's going on in Iran. If you ask them, they know Ferguson, just like you said. They know Ferguson, and they know Darren Wilson's name, and they know Michael Brown's name, but I guarantee you they don't know what's been going on with Iran and all of this negotiations. They don't. And
that's a great point, Morgan. You know, somebody like Wilson is being demonized, but I think somebody more evil is a president of the United States that made it possible for the mullahs to get the nuclear bomb. Ernie?
Just gave Iran an extension, I think, of 7 months. So that means they can do whatever they want for the next 7 months. President Obama loves United Nations. He follows everything the United Nations asks him to do, from the EPA, from all the rules and guidelines, right down to freeing everybody in Egypt, Libya, everywhere else. And this is what we're getting now. Iran. The United Nations do not want any action on Iran, and the United States continues to follow the rules and regulations of the United Nations. They're one of our biggest downfalls.
Ernie, if and when Iran gets the bomb, very briefly, please, what world will we be living in? You will be living in not only a third world, but probably no world, because they will use it. Do you think ISIS will not use it? Well, here's the thing. They're going to use it. Here's the thing. The communists were dangerous, but they were interested in self-preservation. Exactly. Let's just leave it at that. Mel?
Yeah, well, it's going to be very dangerous. And when do they think they're going to have this? What, like June 2015? They think they might be good to go? So it's going to be a real scary world. We need to get good leadership that's going to protect Israel. That's one of the main concerns I'm sure all of us here have, because that's going to be, they're the first to be taken down.
Sure,
so we have to watch them, and we got to change this leadership. We got to get rid of it.
Ladies and gentlemen, all good things come to an end. Please, 15 seconds each. Whatever you want to say, the floor is yours, and perhaps I'll say, what are you thinking of lately when you go to bed at night in terms of politics and the world? Morgan, 15 seconds each, please.
The only thing I can say is that we really have to make a change. I felt the pulse of the American people in small town America this past weekend. They're angry, they're upset, they know what's going on. There has to be a change in 2016.
But you're not referring to the riots in Ferguson. You're talking about people upset that CNN and MSNBC are ignoring.
Exactly. Right? Immigration, everything that's going on.
Ernie?
I just want to say that I think the nation needs to start loving each other. We just really need to start going deeper. And I know many of us are spiritual people. We go to church. We need to start acting like it. We need to act like we're in front of our pastor every second of the day, and start forgiving people, and start loving people, and empower people, and educate people. And that's not the message of Obama, Sharpton, and Jesse Jackson, to name a few people. Mel, last words go to you.
Okay, that was a great start. We should all do that. And to go on what Morgan said, yes, people are upset and stuff, but they have to get active.
Absolutely.
Quit complaining and get out there and do something about it.
That's right.
What an honor, privilege, and pleasure it is to have three wonderful people on my show. Mell, Flynn, Ernie White, Morgan, Brittany, thank you for joining the Glazov Gang.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And we'll see you next week on the Glazov Gang. Good night.